Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barban. With me is Geoff Dover, and let's talk football.
It's another one of our State of Affairs series. We're doing the State of Affairs in the state of Georgia. So not too many teams here, but important teams, relevant teams in football. Georgia's a big football state, even though it only has, the two major teams. There's a few other college teams that are in there, but we're mostly going to be talking about the Bulldogs and the Falcons today.
Well, and Georgia Tech, come on.
Oh, and Georgia Tech.
Give the Rambling Wreck some love.
Yeah.
As Gator alumni, how does it feel wearing that shirt? Is it itchy?
Still getting used to it. It's not super comfortable, but listen, we're professionals. Georgia's a good team. They're going to be near the top of the SEC this season. You can't not talk about them.
Right.
And it's this was one of my first questions that I had starting today. Who do you think is going to be reliant more on their QB, the Georgia Bulldogs or the Atlanta Falcons? So, and to put that in perspective, so we've got Gunnar Stockton at Georgia, right? And then Penix at Atlanta. And quarterback's the most important position for any football team, okay? Yeah. But the way I'm looking at the question is that some Georgia teams in the past have been amazing, like at every position, offensive line, defensive line, wide receiver, running back. Quarterback hasn't had to do that much. So do you think Georgia's going to be like that this year or not? That's really what the question is.
So they put, I don't know, 50 people in the NFL. It was nuts how many guys went to the NFL again this year off Georgia. So half the offensive line, the whole offensive line, I don't know. D linemen, linebackers, safeties, the offensive line, receivers, just everything ended up in the NFL, right? And
they're good. That was one of the points. One of my favorite points you made is that, if you take a Georgia lineman or linebacker, like it's going to be okay if you're in the NFL. So it'll never be not a good pick. So
if you're an NFL GM and you don't want to overthink it, limit your draft picks. You could theoretically just pick off of Alabama and Georgia for linemen on both sides of the ball and linebackers, and you'd be fine.
Yeah, I would be.
And who cares how? Just no. I'm just picking off those two teams,
and it's a combination of stuff too. Part of it is like they do a really good job, obviously, getting the 5-star recruits, which is the highest rated people you get out of college, out of high school. But it's also part of the development thing. Like Kirby and Saban are like really good, and whatever they've done with their programs and developing their people has been really good. So there's something to that.
Go ask the Eagles how it works out on defense.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. So talk about a player who's going to could also be one of the highest paid non-quarterbacks, Carter, when his rookie deal's up. So anyway,
so do you think George is going to be like that? Do you think how much is Gunnar Stockton going to have to do for them this year?
I kind of think it doesn't matter how he plays. As long as he's not, I was just about to say, as long as he's not turnover prone, but they still did it with Carson Beck being turnover prone last year. Like he was, I don't think he's a net positive, Carson Beck. I don't know if you could also call him a net liability, but he was just, I don't know, not good or bad, because he played good enough to offset how when he played horrifically bad, and he would do it in the same game all year. That offense played half a game all year. The defense was there the whole time.
Yep.
But the offense,
we talked about that a lot of times last year,
which is so uncharacteristic of Georgia to have. It doesn't matter if the offense is really, really good or just okay. What's uncharacteristic is for it to be so Jekyll-and-Hyde in the same game.
Yeah.
And I think partly because the receivers couldn't catch a ball to save their lives. The running game wasn't as good as you expect it to be. And Beck's decision-making and some of what he did was just unbelievable. And they still beat Texas twice.
Yeah.
It's just surprising they can be that sort of sloppy or messy on offense, and they were still right there the whole way. And I think the only reason they didn't go all the way to the final game, the championship game, was just because of that, just the inconsistency on offense. But the defense, they had a championship caliber defense. That was there. So based on that, to answer your question, as long as Stockton's not a complete train wreck, they should be right there again.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't think they're reloading, but that's what they do. Like, it's not other teams, when you lose people and lose that many draft picks, there's more concern, but there's less here just because of how good he's been doing with recruiting and developing people and stuff. And so I hope that Stockton's going to be in a position where he doesn't have to do that. They're not going to ask him to do too much because it's going to be a really talented team around him. The other thing that's interesting is they talk about is the schedule. So because some people have said that like Georgia's schedule isn't bad compared to other like SEC teams, which is really
it's pretty rough.
Which is pretty surprising considering they have Bama and Texas on it, right? Which is not every SEC team has that, but in terms of like setting it up, and we've talked about this in a few of our State of Affairs episodes, like depending on how the schedule, like I like having the sort of the warm up games and then starting off with a test that's like not too bad, And so they've got Marshall at the beginning, then Austin P, which is going to be no problem. And iron out all the kinks you want. Then at Tennessee, it's a tough game, but like I still think they're going to have a better roster than Tennessee, and getting Tennessee early with the young QB is going to that's the time when
Tennessee's replacing a lot. Now they're also in reload, not rebuild caliber team, but I would put Georgia like above them. Yeah. Even though if they're both doing the same thing and they're both starting a new QB, they're kind of mirror images a little bit of each other. Now Stockton's through the system and not a transfer, but they're just Tennessee's the younger brother in that one. Yeah. Even if they're doing kind of the same thing.
Yeah. So at Tennessee, and then they get Bama at home. So the fact that it's at Georgia, I think is a big deal. Same thing with Texas. Texas goes to Georgia. So
what's crazy with all of those teams that these are all new quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no returning quarterback on any of those teams.
No, they play Florida, so that'll be the neutral site one. And then is it neutral site still? Did they change that yet?
Yeah, I think it's going to be at Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta.
So, and then they've got Ole Miss at home and at Auburn. So it's not, and then they finish with hosting Georgia Tech, which is also not a nothing game, as you pointed out too. So that's
out of all of those teams you just named, the only team with a returning starter is Georgia Tech.
Florida.
Well, and then if you want to call Lagway a returning starter, Lagway.
Yeah,
but he only started like half the season.
True,
that's crazy. That's crazy that there's that many new quarterbacks.
Yeah,
but you're right. So, I mean, is there any game they won't be favored in other than the Texas game?
Bama, maybe. I mean, it's going to be close, but
really,
it'll be a low
Bama
point.
will be favored.
I don't know. It's going to be low. It's going to be like -1.5. It's at Georgia. So it'll be like,
then I bet you it's
like maybe like -1.5 or something. Yeah, it's like but it's so anyway, so it's interesting. It's just that schedule sets up like if they're good, then they can lose one of the Bama or Texas games and win the other ones. Like they'll be really good.
You think there's any chance they go under 10 wins?
That's a tough question. I don't know. I mean, so that means the 3 losses. Because it'd be 10-2.
3. Okay, yeah. Let's say it another way around. What are the 3 realistic losses?
Yeah, I mean, it might be Bama, it might be Texas, and then one of Florida or Auburn or Ole Miss, maybe. But it's
you don't think Georgia Tech can give them the same problem they gave them last year?
No, I don't think so. Plus,
really?
It's at Georgia too. I think this year. So I think that.
No, it was at Georgia. This year is at Georgia Tech.
Really? Because it's got
that 8 overtime game was at Georgia this last year. I don't know. I think.
Oh, it's Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That one.
Georgia and Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
What about Georgia, Florida?
Let me check that.
That's stupid. Why? Oh God, that sucks.
That's still Everbank. It's still Jacksonville, the Florida one.
Okay. I knew something was in Mercedes-Benz. That is dumb. Why would they do that? Unless there's, I don't know. That's kind of not fair to Georgia Tech. They don't get a home game out of that one.
Yeah. Well, unless they did the year before. I don't know how the schedule.
Oh yeah, you're right. What the cycle is. Anyways, I think Georgia Tech could give them a problem like they just did.
Okay.
So, anyways, we'll see. But I think 10 wins is totally realistic, and there's only a few potential spots where they could trip up. But again, that's assuming Stockton is not a complete mess,
right? And I
don't think we expect him to be
fine. No, I think so. Who would you feel more? This is the Georgia pod and not the Alabama one, but going into the season, if it's Ty Simpson versus Gunnar Stockton, I think I feel better about Gunnar Stockton in terms of like coming in
because
and being
we've
good.
seen him.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything from, and when he came in the championship, the playoffs, he looked good.
Yes.
So, I mean, even though he got completely knocked out, like completely lit up. So I don't know. I mean, but they just keep reloading with good players. There's no reason to expect him to be bad. Like
I like what Kirby is saying at the SEC media days too. He's like, I want my players to be hungry, and they are. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a good sign too, because when you have a really talented team, it's hard not to be we expect to win and things like that. So if they're motivated too, that's going to be even harder. But
yeah, if I was to, I would bet on Kirby to have teams ready and to find ways to motivate teams, regardless of how regardless of what the media is saying about them. I would guess I would give him the benefit of the doubt on keeping a team motivated, even if they're the hunted versus the hunter.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's been doing it for a while now. There's none of this, like the Richt thing is over. Georgia being the sleeping giant is over. They are now the giant. Like to me, they've replaced Bama as the standard. And Ohio State kind of always is lingering in there. Day got over the hump, but I think you got to say it's Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, or 1 and 1A. The two, they're kind of right there together. Maybe if Ohio State wins another one really soon, but right now Georgia's just been there on the peak longer and more successful than Ohio State. So that's the new standard in the country. So there, Santiago, is that enough Georgia talk for you from two Gators? Look at Dover's wearing a Georgia shirt. And I know he's got a rash under there right now.
So it's the.
Anyways,
but so the other team now, so going into the season with hoping the relatively young QBs doing well is going to be the Atlanta Falcons. So there's points last year where this team looked really good. Like they've got a good running game. The defense wasn't great, but like it wasn't terrible sometimes, and it just seemed like the Kirk Cousins things was more of a trouble than it was worth. And I don't know, but I think they position that because their division isn't super amazing. I think that if they tweak some stuff on defense and it's just slightly improved the defense, and then Penix still develops, I think they could be. I'm excited to watch them this year.
Well, they spent the first 4 picks on defense, and they moved up to have 2 first-round picks, both edge rushers, 2 of the most highly ranked edge rushers in this class.
Yep.
So if even half of their picks hit, that should upgrade the defense.
2 edge players and 2 safeties. So if hopefully one of the edge person and one of the safeties work out, then that would make it
just something. Something work, because that defense was atrocious last year. And then actually after watching quarterback documentary, it's interesting that the thing fell apart when Cousins took that pretty bad hit on his arm.
Yes.
And it messed up his elbow and his shoulder. I didn't remember the media really covering that during the season. Maybe it just wasn't that big of a deal because he kept playing.
He didn't miss that much time. That's why, right? So, and I thought it was also that was, first of all, that's a great series, the quarterback series.
Awesome.
This year was my favorite one. Like it was this season was way better. I mean, not that the first season was bad, but like this season was great just to see that stuff. And Cousins I think the fact that he called Penix to say he was starting was a really big deal too. Like he's just Kirk Cousins.
He had to do it. Yeah.
He's a quality guy, but but Cousins had not only when he got hit, he had the elbow and the shoulder thing, but he was still recovering from the ankle stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So that's so I think that, anyway, Penix is good. Hopefully they've upgraded the defense. And they had flashes, like they won several games in a row last year, So it's and again, similar. We talked about this on another pod. It's they're 2 of the first 3 games are division games, so it's going to be early on. They host the Buccaneers, then they're at the Vikings, and then they're at the Panthers. So
they open the season against the Bucs.
Yep, hosting the Bucs.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
so
that's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's a big game. It's a big game because those are the 2 real leaders in their division. So it's on the first day. So, and then again, then the third game's at the Panthers too, which they're going to be improved. So you're going to want to, But
I think the only team that I'm not expecting any real movement on is the Saints out of that division. I'm guessing everyone's going to level up, even the Bucs, because Godwin will be back, right?
Yeah, I think so. And their last game of the season is hosting the Saints. So I always feel like if they're, you need a win at the last bit to make the playoffs or something, that's not
set up for it.
Yeah, it's not a bad place to do it. So
I think they can compete for the division if Penix continues looking like how he looked when he came in. Like
Absolutely.
He looked good.
Yes, he did.
Cool. I called this on the Cousins thing when there was all the controversy about picking Penix. I loved that. First of all, I loved that player.
Yeah.
And then when they picked him, I'm like, that's not a bad idea, because he's one of the best quarterbacks in this draft. And I wasn't sure that Cousins was going to make the season. based on injury or maybe even playing bad. And it turned out exactly how I thought it would turn out. And Penix came in and he just looked so cool and so poised. And one of his very first throws, or maybe his very first completion,
was the touchdown, wasn't it?
No, it was like a wide side out that requires like perfect accuracy, like throw it with anticipation before the guy comes out of his break and just hit him right in the hands. And I watched JT O'Sullivan's like QB analysis, and he's like, "Oh my God, that's your first completion in the NFL." To him, that's it. That's the toughest one you can possibly throw. Like that's a big boy NFL throw. And he's always looking, can these kids do this? Can these kids do this? And he comes right out of the gates with one of the toughest throws you can make. And it was just cool. He just nailed it. And it's like, oh, I think he's already got it. Like, and I had another theme that there's not this whole, a QB has to sit and wait and develop. It's bullshit. Explain Jaden Daniels then. Explain Tom Brady as soon as he got in and won the Super Bowl. Like if you've got it and you can process at the end, explain Purdy. Like the ones who've got it, and they got it right away. Explain Jalen Hurts. He was in the Super Bowl within 3 years.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I just think that there's a lot of
Super Bowl in his second year.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of examples of people not doing it that we just don't know of because they didn't do it.
No, I'm talking about ones that are going to be good.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I still think there's something to be said about like watching and like not having to start your first year is a good thing. But you're right. It does seem like when you have a Stroud, when you have it, you have it.
I can't believe I missed it, Stroud.
Yeah. So
to me, there's more examples of guys who hit it right away. And Ben Roethlisberger would have won 15 games right out of the gates. So to me, if you've got a Super Bowl winning caliber QB pick, you know that in the first year and a half, you already know that. Oh, he's in that class. He's already got it figured out. Because the talent's all there. All of them physically always have it. That's the only reason they get picked in the first place. It's all, can they process at NFL speed? And you find that out almost immediately.
Yeah.
So anyways, I think Atlanta could challenge for the division, but some of those people on defense have to hit. Like,
yeah, no, I think they're for sure going to challenge for the division just because the Saints and the Panthers aren't going to be good. So it's just them and the Bucks. So it's the schedule wise, though, it's all tough. So that I just went over the first three. So they host the Bucks, then it's at the Vikings, then at the Panthers. So it's 2 division games in the first 3. But then they've got what seems to be 3 division leaders after that, which is going to be the Commanders, the Bills, and the Niners. So that's a tough opening stretch there.
It is pretty tough right away.
Yeah, I know. So, but
that's trial by fire for Penix's first season, starting the whole season.
Yeah.
Oh, and do you think the GM and maybe the head coach are on the hot seat if this thing doesn't work? Maybe specifically the GM for making the Cousins pick. And if this thing doesn't work this year, you've got $100 million backup quarterback plus an eighth overall pick salary starting quarterback. You're going to look kind of dumb if this offense can't do anything this year. And if these defensive picks don't hit, it's just a bunch of resources and just missing a lot. Like, I think both of the first round defensive ends have to hit for that GM to not be like completely under the microscope. It's like, what have you done?
Really? I think that I agree with you in principle. Like you're right because of how everything shook out and why you would sign Cousins to a 4-year deal and then draft a QB and stuff that early. So I agree with you. I could just see so many ways where this works out though for them. Like if Penix gets injured and Cousins comes in and wins a couple of important games or something like that's going to feel like money well spent. You know what I mean? Because it's I don't know.
That's actually, hang on. That's a really good point. You could argue they're the only team in the league that could survive a catastrophic quarterback injury and still keep going.
And you, out of all the people, know how many QBs played last year.
Oh yeah, I made my list. We had 65.
I know. So the chance of Penix starting every game is statistically low. So that's a big deal to be able to like not have to know that your chance of you winning doesn't go down significantly when your starter QB goes out, right? So
yeah, you know what? Yeah, the more I think about it, maybe that is sort of a comfort level thing, knowing they have someone as good as Cousins right there.
I feel like also just again, I'm probably biased from the Netflix series, but like Cousins is one of the few people I think that could do it too. Like he's, obviously he wants to start. He's super competitive, but like if he's, I think he could still be the backup and come in and do a good job.
He's got enough humility to practice, be ready, and not be so arrogant thinking, well, if I'm not the starter, like F these guys.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if that's the case. We'll see. They're interesting. They're going to be must-watch TV. I mean, Penix is just, and he's a fellow lefty.
Yep.
So,
very true.
All right. So then the other team that we need to talk about is Georgia Tech.
Yep.
They return Haynes King and Jamal Haynes.
Yep.
And I think they retain at least both starting guards. So there should be, and a fair bit of production actually from last year. They gave Georgia all that they could handle on an eight overtimes. And at any point, Tech could have easily won that game. That was like an even match the whole way. And they got Miami. They got a couple of teams. They started the disaster with Florida State. They started that, in Ireland?
Yep.
Like the beginning of the demise of Florida State started with them losing to Tech.
We thought that was a shocking upset at the time, but it was
turned out no, Tech is good and Florida State was bad.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Tech could challenge for the ACC. I don't even think that's controversial. I think they totally can challenge for the ACC. As long as Haynes King can last the entire season. God, he just gets bashed up every game.
He does.
But when that run game's rolling, there's no, I mean, Georgia could not stop it.
Yep.
Miami could not stop. And we're talking Georgia. That entire defense is in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And the Tech ran right over them.
Yeah. No, their schedule is interesting this year too, because they don't have Miami. But it's interesting. So the first game is at Colorado, which is sort of a big game. It's not a conference game, but that's we're going to learn a lot about both teams on that one,
I
right?
think Tech has for sure got the upper hand there because they have continuity. They have continuity.
Yeah, you're right.
They have continuity at their two most important positions on offense for this team, running back and quarterback, especially the way they run that quarterback.
No, you're right.
Whereas Colorado's starting, and even if assuming it's Salter, and it's probably going to be good, but that's a new guy in a new system. Whereas Haynes King is he in his 10th year?
Yeah,
whatever it is. He's a 5th-year starter.
And it's also similar to like what you're just talking about, the Florida State game. Like they came out and they looked like they were on point at that game. Like they don't need a warm up to get ready. So at Colorado, then they've got Gardner-Webb, and then they host Clemson, which is all of a sudden a big matchup early on.
Massive game.
Yeah, in the third one. And Temple, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, at Duke, Syracuse at home, at NC State, at Boston College, Pitt at home, which is going to be big, I think, because I think Pitt's going to be better too. And then Georgia. So really interesting setup for them because they don't get, that
could eeasily, you could make a good argument that's a 10-2 schedule.
It is because there's no Miami, there's no SMU. So
will they be favored in every game other than Clemson and Georgia?
Temple, Wake, Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse would be close, but it's at home.
I mean, now obviously the season has to unfold.
Pitt would be close, but it's at home. Yeah,
probably
you might be right.
Colorado.
Yeah, we could probably check that now. Actually, that's interesting. Here, you talk about something.
Well, it's just right, exactly. well, this is what we're talking about. Them being maybe the dark horse for the ACC, which I can totally see happening. I think people just sort of forget about them because they're not the Clemson, Miami, Florida State, like the big time brand. Yeah. But like I said, they've
improved and
they beat two of those teams last year. They beat Florida State and they beat Miami.
They're not going to sneak up anyone this year, but you're right. They're better. Where the hell is that game?
It's in Colorado. It's on the 29th of August.
Is it the Friday?
29th, whatever the 29th
is.
It's
a Friday. Okay. Yeah. Georgia Tech -4.5. You're right, Barban.
Yeah. On the road across the country. Right. So, well, I mean, that makes sense. Colorado's turning the team over
a field
crazy.
Goal. That's interesting. Well,
so in my ongoing theme of marriages of coaches and teams, I think Key's got to stay there.
Yeah.
I like that. This seems to be working. Now, is it an anomaly because Haynes King is just doing his thing and he's unique and the way they use him is unique and somehow he doesn't get injured playing like that. But if he can churn quarterbacks in that mold and continue running that offense the way he's doing it, that could become a destination school for O-linemen who want to learn like a road grading system like that, where they just run right down people's throats consistently. It's almost like a version of what Paul Johnson used to do there, like actually run the triple option. So I like that. I always want Georgia Tech to be to
That
run
was
some sort of
awesome when he
option
was there.
offense. Oh,
That
it was
was I
so
thought
much
that was
fun.
great. And the ACC, and it was really, and they did it well, and it's,
I want every major conference to have one option team.
Yeah.
I want Nebraska to go back to being option. Tech will do it for ACC. Somebody in the SEC has to do it. And someone in the Big 12 has to do it. Just go straight. Just option is so much fun to watch. Anyway, so Tech's about as close as we're going to get.
This is off topic, but because for the Georgia pod, but the other game on that night, on that Friday, is Auburn at Baylor. If you had to guess at the line right now, what would you think it is, knowing nothing?
Auburn at Baylor?
Yes.
Baylor by 3?
Auburn by 1.5.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah, because Baylor's going to be better, and it's at Baylor.
That's more like Auburn by, that would be like Auburn by 4 at home or whatever, 3 at home, right?
Yeah, 4.5 at home, yeah.
Really? They're not giving Baylor any credit for the continuity there.
Well, I think it speaks a lot what they think about Auburn, right? Because a lot of people think they're going to be improved. So, but anyway,
but Auburn's quarterback, what's it, Wegman?
No, it's the Arnold.
Jackson
right?
Arnold. Jackson Arnold. Sorry,
yeah.
Jackson Arnold. Yeah. Well, basically, I'm just trying to think of a 5-star who was a complete dud. So one of the two of them, whatever.
Arnold's going to be better. I think there's been a lot of talk about what he had to go through at Oklahoma, and he thinks that it's like a breath of fresh air at Auburn. So,
all right, well, we'll see.
But that's both those games are on at 8 p.m. Eastern on that Friday, so it's a good time to use your 2 TV setup.
Oh yeah, my double TV. I got to show you guys my double TV setup. I'll maybe do a little video. Yeah, oh man, it's awesome. Yeah.
So we take this seriously.
Yes, damn right we do. I had to battle with Dean on where to put that thing too. I wanted the TV side by side, but she didn't like the aesthetic of it all. Mm-hmm. So I put it.
Hey, listen, what coming up from behind the other one? That's a good way to go.
Oh yeah, you just wait. This is a beauty setup. Well, all right. So who are you most interested in watching in the state of Georgia? At least with just the 3 teams we talked about.
Yeah, that's really tough because I think Georgia's going to be good. I know Georgia's going to be good. But I'm probably most interested in the Falcons, to be honest. And a close second would be Georgia Tech, really, to be honest, because that I think that division is a bit more wide open than people realize. I mean, Clemson will be favored, but I don't know who the second team's going to be. It could be Miami, Syracuse, Georgia State. I think a few different teams could fit in there.
Yep.
So SMU. So, but I'm interested to see. I want to see Penix. I like to see young QB play well in the NFL and then see if Georgia Tech can make it interesting in the ACC.
Yeah, I'm with you. The changing of the guard with Penix and the outgoing of the old hangers-on quarterbacks. Like Cousins represents that generation of what's you got him, Flacco, Rodgers. Who else is just still hanging on from that generation that just needs to retire?
Wilson?
Well, Stafford, but doesn't need to retire. He's still playing at elite level. Yeah. And I guess you could say Rodgers' stats last year weren't that bad. So if this team is solid around him, he should be totally fine. Make to the playoffs, exit first round. But it's just I'm just excited when the next generation is in and we get to see them go. And Penix is part of that, and his talent is just through the roof. So yeah, and I was waiting all year for him. And when he finally got in,
I know
he showed up
clamoring for it.
You know what the one frustrating thing about the Falcons is they should have one of the best tight ends in the league, and that guy Pitts has just not turned out.
No, he's got all the tools. I don't know why it's not working.
The hell's wrong with that guy?
Yeah. He's a mismatched nightmare. It should be like on every it should be like a Bowers type situation where it's like you could really take over a game.
Well, he physically looks like Shannon Sharp and has that type of ability.
Yeah.
But I've heard one analyst say, and he saw him live, and he's like, I don't feel like he has the fight or the desire. It's almost where's the fight?
That's what it has to be because physically it's there. So,
but he was a freak in college.
Yeah, but you don't have to. If you're a freak athlete in college, then it's not the same as in the NFL because you could just, But
because the competition stepped up, it's not just everyone's a freak. Now you have to have more want than them. Well, this is a contract year for him. So if there's anything in there,
good point.
Any true competitive spirit, if that's the issue, it better come out this year, or this is the year you would expect it to come out.
Yeah. No,
otherwise, he's going to go down as one of the biggest disappointments. But if he can turn it around, with the running game they have, which I think is top 2 or 3 as far as like a 2-headed monster.
Yep.
With Robinson and Algier, and then Drake London's just a complete stud.
Yep.
And if you have Yeah, he's good too. And Ray McLeod's more than good enough in his position. And if Pitts becomes like a legit tight end, now you're talking like a complete offense. And it's just it should be way better, because he should be way better. And I think that's part of the problem. You spent a fourth overall pick on a tight end who should have hit and he didn't.
Yeah.
And you're kind of still living in the aftermath of a
London
pick used and money spent on a guy who's not performing.
Yeah. London had 1,200 yards. Mooney had almost 1,000, 992. Played in one less game. Ray McLeod still had 686 yards. Pitts had 47 catches for 600 yards. And so, like, that's, to me, at the tight end at this day and age, that's like below average, I think, for what should be.
For him, though.
Yes, for him. He's
capable of being a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah. The running back, Robinson, had 431 yards receiving. So, like, it should.
Yeah, but he's like a Christian McCaffrey style. He can do it all.
I know that,
Robinson,
but it's still that Pitts should be better. He should be.
Should be. Well, I mean, so he's a bit of a wild card. If he can actually play up even close to his potential, they could be a real problem in this division.
Yeah.
At least they could be a handful for the Bucs anyways. Anyway, so they're to me, they're the most interesting out of the three. Georgia, obviously we'll watch, but Georgia's more just expected to win 10 games.
Yeah, I'm going to tune into Georgia, either that Tennessee game or even the Alabama game. So, like, but the first couple games with the Falcons are going to be important.
And like we said, Georgia Tech, I mean, it's not like I'm not interested in them. It's just I have to pick. I'd probably put the Falcons slightly ahead.
No, the Georgia Tech's a good example of, like, I'm going to watch that Colorado game mostly because it's one of the opening weekends, and that's one of the better matchups that day. Then the third weekend is the Clemson game, and I watch that one. So like that's two of the first 3 weeks I'll be watching Georgia Tech games.
Yeah, and then
which I'm not going to be doing for Georgia.
That's primary screen stuff for me, and then the Georgia Tech game will be obviously a big one too. So, all right, well, that's this. You got anything else? Or are we done here?
That's good.
All right, well, that's the state of affairs for Georgia, and for Geoff Dover, I'm John Barban, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.